That law degree hanging on the wall, it's probably worth less than the channel of a 20-year-old gamer living in Brisbane. And it's not even close. That statement sounds ridiculous, maybe even insulting. But what if I told you it's not only true, but it's the worst-kept secret of a $2.5 billion industry that's redefining the very idea of the Australian dream? We're about to talk about how a group of internet personalities who most people still see as lucky amateurs playing with cameras quietly built media empires right under our noses, and why right now, big money, the kind of money that moves markets, is preparing to get in on the game. In the next few minutes, I'm going to break down the machine. We'll dissect the revenue streams, the invisible ecosystem that supports them, and the financial strategy that turns YouTube views into 9-figure assets. By the time we're done, you'll never look at your feed the same way again. Picture this. You're in a luxury hotel suite in Sydney, but it's not just any hotel room. It's a meticulously assembled makeshift studio. Lights, cameras, broadcast-grade microphones. At the center of it all is LazarBeam, or Lannan Acott. To millions, he's the funny guy who plays Fortnite. But today, he isn't playing. He's on a call with investors. Lawyers, accountants, and brand managers are on the line. They aren't discussing his latest kill streak. They're discussing the expansion of his merchandise line, the licensing of his IP for an animated series, and the launch of a creator-led venture fund. The conversation is filled with terms like EBITDA, CAGR, and market valuation. This isn't a hobby. This is the board meeting of a multi-million-dollar media company, and he's the CEO, chairman, and main product all in one. The pressure is immense. A bad video might cost him tens of thousands in AdSense, but a bad business decision could implode an empire that took nearly a decade to build. A poorly negotiated brand deal, a partnership that tarnishes his reputation, a failure to diversify beyond YouTube, every decision carries the weight of salaries, leases, and the expectations of a global audience. That casual smile you see in the thumbnails hides a calculator running 1,000,000 miles an hour, assessing the risk and reward of every single move. He is the living embodiment of the fact that the biggest risk wasn't dropping out to join the family construction business to make videos. The biggest risk is making it to the top and realizing gravity is a lot stronger up there. If the complexity behind these operations surprises and inspires you, show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to Southern Signal. It helps us continue to decode the forces shaping our world. But how did a guy from the Central Coast who used to drop out of school to work in construction develop the acumen to navigate this world? The answer isn't in any business school. It's in his dad's garage. Back in 2014, Lannan wasn't LazarBeam. He was just a kid making slow-motion demolition videos with his phone, fascinated by the physics of destruction. There was no business plan, there was no monetization strategy, there was just a relentless curiosity and a work ethic forged under the Australian sun. His first tipping point wasn't a viral video, but the decision to treat his fledgling passion with the same discipline as his day job. Waking up before dawn to sling timber, then spending all night learning to edit. Studying the YouTube algorithm not as the creator, but as an engineer reverse engineering a complex system. He failed hundreds of times. Videos no one saw, ideas that fell flat, jokes that didn't land. But every failure was a data point. Every underperforming video was a lesson in what the audience didn't want. He wasn't building a channel, he was building a feedback loop. His resilience wasn't born from passion, but from practice. The practice of analyzing data, of understanding viewer psychology, of being his own harshest critic. When Fortnite exploded, he didn't get lucky. He got ready. He had already spent years honing his craft, building his community, and most importantly, learning how to think like a strategist, not just an entertainer. The strength to endure those high-stakes board meetings was forged in the loneliness of that garage, trying to figure out why a video of him demolishing a garden shed only got 12 views. This journey from the garage to the boardroom isn't unique. Take Wengie, or Wendy O'Shea. She started out as a financial blogger, a sensible, stable career. But her passion was creativity. She started a YouTube channel in 2013, focusing on beauty, DIY, and life hacks. Her initial growth was impressive, but her real genius wasn't in the content itself, but in her understanding of global scale. While other creators focused on the Australian market, Wendy thought in markets. She launched channels in Spanish, Chinese, and other languages, hiring teams to dub and adapt her content. She wasn't just making videos, she was building an international media operation. She spun her personality into a global brand, launching toys, music, and even a character on the Cartoon Network. She is the archetype of the global entrepreneur who sees YouTube not as a destination, but as a launchpad to build a diversified intellectual property brand. Or consider RackaRacka, the twin brothers, Danny and Michael. From sleepy Adelaide, they turned their backyard action movie fantasies into a viral sensation, blending Hollywood-grade technical and narrative excellence with chaotic humor. Their rise wasn't just about viral hits. It was about building a reputation for technical and narrative excellence. That reputation became their currency. It took them from making YouTube sketches to directing an acclaimed A24-produced horror film, Talk to Me. They use YouTube as their film school and their portfolio, proving the platform can be a legitimate pathway into traditional creative industries. LazarBeam, Wengie, RackaRacka, 3 completely different business models. The community-focused gaming empire, the Global IP brand, and the Springboard Creative Studio. They are proof that there is no single path, but they all share a fundamental principle. They stopped seeing themselves as YouTubers and started operating as media companies. And where successful companies exist, an ecosystem emerges. Talent agencies like Jelly Smag and Born Bread have sprung up, specializing in managing creators. Production companies like Studio 71 have opened Australian offices. Lawyers specializing in digital media, accountants who understand platform monetization, merchandise experts, an entire industry has blossomed to service this new class of entrepreneur. The Australian government is slowly waking up, with reports from Screen Australia finally acknowledging the economic and cultural power of online creators. This is no longer a bedroom economy. It's a sophisticated, interconnected network of professionals that is reshaping entertainment, marketing, and the very fabric of Australian entrepreneurship. The Australian dream used to be a quarter-acre blog. Now it's 1 million subscribers. And what happens when a fragmented industry filled with high-growth, high-margin assets reaches maturity? The smart money shows up. Institutional capital, specifically private equity, is watching this space not with curiosity, but with spreadsheets and acquisition models. They don't see YouTubers, they see undervalued media assets with predictable cash flows, IP rights, and captive audiences. Companies like Spotter are already offering creators hundreds of millions of dollars in exchange for the rights to their future AdSense revenue. This is just the beginning. The next phase of this industry won't be about individuals getting famous. It will be about funds buying up creator catalogs, bundling them together, and optimizing them for maximum efficiency, just like they did with the music industry. The era of the independent creator may be coming to an end, giving way to the era of the corporately managed creator portfolio. So, that joke about the law degree, it doesn't seem so funny now, does it? What started with kids in garages playing with cameras has morphed into a legitimate $2.5 billion industry. We've decoded how individuals like LazarBeam built empires from nothing, not through luck, but through relentless discipline and strategic thinking. We've seen how this individual rise gave birth to a complex professional ecosystem, validating it as a real economic force. And now we stand on the brink of the next evolution, where big money is preparing to consolidate and industrialize this passion. We've moved past asking, how do they make money? The question now is, who is going to own them next? And if you think the idea of private equity funds buying up your favorite YouTubers is fascinating, you'll be shocked when you find out how they plan to do it. Click the video on the screen now for the full breakdown.